Greetings, free thinkers. Welcome to the Hoggcast. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing fine. I certainly am. Okay, what do we have for you on today's episode? We have for you another one of those incidences that I've mentioned numerous times that I'm sure you've experienced before in your life, where you wake up and you think, do you know what? I've seen it all now. Nothing can be worse than whatever it was you just saw in regards to the ongoing culture war and so on. And then all of a sudden you see something and you think, oh my god, this really takes the cake this time. And this is it. These are the mothers and the fathers of three college girls who have been kicked out of college. They were kicked out of college immediately. They weren't allowed to get their stuff or say goodbye or anything like that. They were not refunded. The families weren't refunded the money that they spent on their tuition. And the families and the girls in question have been completely stonewalled. Why has this happened? Because these three college girls posed maskless together for a photo. That's it. That is it. If, and I'm sure you're thinking this, if they were photographed at a Black Lives Matter rally, giving the Black Power hand sign, and they were maskless, even if they were in front of a burning building that they just torched, do you think that their tuition would be scrapped? Do you think they'd be kicked out of college? No, of course not. They'd be gloried. Just ridiculous, isn't it? Just ridiculous. How one-sided everything is. So let's get into this clip. It's only one clip, but it's quite long. We'll get into that now. But if you haven't yet, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, either on YouTube or on BitChute. We are on both. Either way, you can share this around. That'll really help us grow. We are only a small channel, and of course we are trying to combat the censorship that all conservative content creators are facing at the moment. Anyway, let's go.
First, say their daughters lost out on a semester of classes, tuition, and housing for next year, all over this picture posting online showing the students maskless at an off-campus party. They're hoping to avoid filing a class action lawsuit against the school after it suspended the students for the spring semester and refused to refund their $16,000 tuition. They couldn't even remote learn. Those parents join us now. There's Kristen, Betsy, RJ, and Teresa. Kristen, let's start with you. What did you think of the picture?
Good morning, Brian. What did I think of the picture? I thought the picture was cute. That picture got them thrown out of the school.
Just for not having a mask?
They went to a gathering off campus on a Saturday. They took a picture, and another student screenshotted that picture off Instagram and sent it to the administration. So that
Remember what I said in my open, not all gatherings are equal. If it was a Black Lives Matter rally, if they were burning down a building or looting a Target store or whatnot, and they were given the Black Power hand sign outside the building, maskless, they wouldn't have been kicked out of college. On the contrary, they would be the toast of the Marxist professors, and of course they would be gloried by their fellow students who are thoroughly indoctrinated. But these three seem smart. These three seem to be doing their own thing. That's why they've been punished. It's like I said, not all gatherings are equal. They've been punished because they've gone against the grain. This is something that you simply cannot do in a socialist culture, in a Marxist culture. You can't go against the grain. You're all meant to be NPCs, non-player characters, marching single file in a line that stretches from here to Timbuktu. Everyone looks the same, talks the same, acts the same, has the same beliefs, has the same thoughts, and that's the most important one, of course. And nobody ever goes against the grain.
Picture virtually got them kicked out of school.
Betsy, when that picture popped up and the ramifications began to come in, what are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, thank you for having us and helping us to share our story. I mean, this has obviously devastated three families. But for us, we live in Maryland, my daughter and I. This picture popped up, and the university was swift and fierce in their actions. They gave my daughter less than 9 hours to move off campus, essentially making her homeless, 500 miles from home, with no recourse. They didn't help her. They didn't ask her if she had a place to go. They didn't ask her if she had the ability to get food for herself. This has just been
They don't care. And in situations like this, and this is a lesson even I've learned, and I implore other people to learn this and heed my advice, stop appealing to the mystical referee of the culture war. Because you know the referee of the culture war? He's a Democrat too. He's a socialist, Marxist, leftist, whatever tag or label you want to put on to describe these people who just seem to move like a tornado through people's lives, and they wreck everything they touch. Choose your label, but remember, the referee of the culture war, he's a Democrat too.
a terrible, terrible injustice, and I just don't feel the punishment fits the crime.
No kidding. Of course it doesn't. RJ and Teresa, from your perspective, I know there were rules on campus, but my goodness, we're all making this up as we go along. So many things that we've been told in the past are totally wrong. And now you're talking about March, kids on campus in college. Shouldn't there be some play in these rules?
I don't think that they were very clear in their expectations for the students before the weekend when this event happened. They warned, they said, make sure you don't gather, make sure you don't do this. The Monday following the gathering, all of a sudden now anybody who is involved in any event is going to be suspended. To me, if you really don't want something to happen, maybe you let them know what the expectation is before something could happen. I don't know.
Good morning, Brian. Thanks for having us. Yeah, there was absolutely no precedent set from a suspension perspective. So our take is if they say they did something wrong, okay, they did something wrong. The punishment they've endured for the last 2 months has been...
I can see that parent at the top there was a bit uncomfortable with that answer. So was I. If they say they did something wrong, they did something wrong. No, don't just... This is what I'm saying. You're complying. You're giving them what they want. Don't just, they say they did something wrong, so they did something wrong. That's not how justice works. That's not how we define whether someone has done something wrong or whether they haven't done something wrong. We don't go by that method. Well, if they say they did something wrong, they did something wrong. And you're talking about precedents here. Don't get me wrong, I feel sorry for you and your family and the plight you're in. Bearing in mind, you're trying to defend the people who have expelled your daughter, ruined her social life and her academic possibilities. Then they refused to refund you your money, your family's money. It probably took you how many years to save up for her college fund? Bear in mind that these colleges are largely, or to an extent, taxpayer funded. I should imagine you and your wife are taxpayers. Don't give in so easily. You need to sue these people. What a draconian and unhelpful and counterproductive response to 3 girls who happened to pose for a photo. You'd think that they did what those 2 girls did in Washington DC. They got off scot-free. They got off with less of a punishment than these 3 girls have got. You know which 2 girls I'm talking about, didn't you? The ones who hijacked that Asian man's car, drove it with him still on the door, wrecked it at the side of the road, and then you could see on the video, I'm sure you've all seen it, his crumpled up body. It was all bent and twisted because he got wrecked on the railings of a building. Those 2 girls got off. They haven't got life sentences. They were all given pity, give them, we must understand them, They got off. Not entirely. They faced some repercussions, but there's pity and understanding for them when they killed a man. Premeditated. These 3 girls, they stood for a photo. And that's being considered a worse crime than that.
More than enough. And the suspension is draconian. It's complete overkill. So, we just want what's right for the kids. The university should allow them to log back into their portals so they can finish the spring semester, of course, and get their credits for the spring semester. These kids have put in over 300 hours each of schooling. They're all great students, honor students. These are the type of students that UMass should want at their campus.
No, because they believe in this concept of equity now. The left, as I've said, very silently moved from equality to equity. Equity is another word for communism. It means you take what is there and split it out completely evenly among everyone, regardless of who they are or what they've done. Sounds great on paper, doesn't it? Sounds brilliant. In practice, it's not so good, and it's never worked. You have to understand that this concept that you're talking about, oh, they've done 300 hours, or was it 3,000? I think it was 300 hours of this. They need this credit, that credit. If you make one mistake in a socialist culture or a Marxist culture, all of your hard work goes out the window. This is why there's so much paranoia in countries like North Korea or the former Soviet Union, in modern day Russia, even in China. Everyone's paranoid because you're not allowed to speak your mind. Does that sound familiar? Because that's what's happening here now in the West. That is the culture that is taking root. Socialism, Marxism, and what comes with that? Deeply ingrained paranoia in everyone, because you don't know who you can trust anymore. You don't know who will sell you out for social credit scores.
And they need to do the right thing to start making this right. The kids have paid their restitution, paid their dues, let them back in and get their credits, and we'll move on from there.
You know, you didn't get in a bar fight. You're not drinking and driving. You took pictures arm in arm in a mask at college. Who hasn't done that at 18, 19? Nobody. I just want to read you what the UMass Amherst tried to explain themselves with this statement: expecting regarding parent-student responsibility to follow public health protocols and the consequences for failing to do so were clearly communicated before and throughout the spring, and students were updated.
Public health protocols. Well, why don't the people who make these public health protocols start abiding by their own laws? How many times have we seen them maskless themselves? How many times have we seen them trying to cheat, trying to deceive us? Why don't they, listen, if you want to set an example, then the people who are making these public health protocols, they need to start sticking to their own laws. That then sets an example, you see. Because if people see them flunking it, then people might flunk it too. But this is before we get to the fact we're talking about teenage girls here. For heaven's sakes, give them a bit of leeway.
Regularly as conditions change, close quote. Kristen, how much does this cost you to not have your kid be able to finish the semester?
It's been heartbreaking watching my well-adjusted daughter be emotionally distraught. It's been heartbreaking for my whole family. At this point, I do not know what to do. I don't know how to help these girls anymore. I'm at a loss. All we want is them to take their exams and finish their college path. And they're just, the school has been absolutely showed no compassion to us. That's all I want is what's fair, and just want the girls to continue on their path. They're great students, great kids.
Obviously. And Betsy, how much money are you out?
You know, I'm a teacher. I'm a single parent with 2 kids in college. I teach special education in our local county school. We don't have a financial pot of money. My daughter took out loans on her own to pay for school. But this is costing us way more than $16,000. My daughter is devastated. She is broken and crushed. And
just goes to show you, doesn't it, that the people making these decisions in universities, and what has happened to higher education, but the people making these decisions, because what they did to these families, that was an emotional reaction, a knee-jerk reaction. And people who react emotionally aren't thinking critically. But as you and me know, in universities now, critical thinking has gone out the window, and it has been replaced by what? Emotional reactions.
She doesn't even want to continue. She doesn't want to go to Amherst.
You know what? I don't blame. It's a great school. It's got a great reputation, but they don't deserve your daughters.
It's a great school with a great reputation. Well, probably not anymore, but I don't think they care about that. Not when they're publicly funded. Look, that's the end of the clip. The parents, look, they all look pretty downhearted. Look at their faces, look. And that's probably because he just said, well, it's a great school with a great reputation. What a stupid thing to say to them after they've just gone through that. You're supposed to be on their side. And don't start with the milquetoast fence sitter stuff, because in a culture war, you can't sit on the fence. You can't play both sides. If you're a Game of Thrones fan like I am, I love Game of Thrones. The person who kept playing both sides, trying to sit on the fence, was Peter Baelish, Lord Baelish, and remember what happened to him. But look, their faces say it all. These are real people going through real trauma. Their daughters' lives are probably ruined. Their social lives, all their friends will be at the university. The university campus themselves and the administration who did this draconian response, they probably break their own health protocols themselves when no one's looking. But what a stupid thing to do. Honestly, and I still stand by my statement that had they have been given Black Power hand signs at an Antifa rally, they would get the opposite. They would be rewarded. They would be gloried. Man, I'm glad I never went to university. Imagine if I went to university, I could have probably ended up like one of these Antifa guys with a bib. Where they wear that bib thing. Glad that didn't happen to me. But, you know, look, I'm going to leave you now. But I just can't help looking at the sorrowful look on their faces. All of them, look. And I hope they sue. Don't go soft. Don't go, oh, it's a great college. Da, 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 da. They didn't show you any mercy, right? And don't appeal to their heart, because they haven't got one. They don't care about you, the university. They want your children's minds and they want your family's money. That's about it. They don't care about you. They don't care about anyone but themselves. But look, I'll leave it there. If you haven't yet, please like this video if you found it interesting, that is. Subscribe to the channel, either on YouTube or on BitChute. If you are on YouTube, there's a notification bell that you can press. That should hopefully notify you when I upload. And I upload most days, 7 days a week. I have one day off here and there every now and again. Either way, share this video around social media. Only takes a few moments to do that. And it really helps combat the censorship we are currently being crushed by. I mean, really crushed. But it will just motivate me to continue doing what I do. Anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.